Hi boys and girls. So for our first project, now that we've learned about all those different kinds of lines and we've met our friend Larry, we are going to make a project that uses some of those lines, and we're also going to learn about some of our colors too. And we are going to be making a sunshine, but all of the sun's rays are going to be some of these different lines that we've learned about, and this will give you a chance to practice drawing them. So you're going to follow along with me step by step. I will show you how to draw the sun. What you're going to need for this project is you are going to need a piece of paper to draw on. You're going to need a pencil. I'm going to use a black marker so you can see what I'm drawing. And then you're going to need something to color with. I used crayons for mine, and when we color, we're going to talk about the order of the rainbow, which I also happen to have on my shirt today. I have all my rainbows on. So let's get started. All right, so to start our picture, we are going to make the sun's face in the middle of our paper. And since we don't have any circle tracers, I mean, if you have something round at home that you would like to trace in the middle of your paper, you can do that. But if you don't have something to trace that's the shape of a circle, you can always use your hand to help you out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hand that I'm not holding my marker in, okay? And I am going to make a fist. Crunch all your fingers together, make sure you tuck that thumb in, all right? And I'm gonna put my fist in the middle of my paper. Now my circle is gonna be a little bit bigger than yours because my hands are bigger than yours. So your circle is gonna be a little smaller, and that's okay. I'm gonna put my fist right in the middle of my paper, and I'm going to carefully draw a circle around my fist. Now I didn't trace my fist. Don't trace the shape of your fist. Just go around it. Don't let your pencil or your marker touch your hand. Now I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to close my circle. So there's my circle. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to add a cute little face for my son. Do little eyes. See, I did little dot eyes for this one up here. I think I'm going to change up my eyes here. So I'm going to do that. I'm actually going to draw bigger eyes. All right, so you can make whatever kind of face you would like to make for your circle. And now let's add the sun's rays using the different kinds of lines that we learned about in the other video. So I'm going to draw a straight line at the very top of my sun. So I'm going to start at my sun and go straight up. Does anybody remember what direction this line goes? It's the one that goes straight up and down. It's vertical. Remember, vertical, horizontal, diagonal. So all of our lines, some of our lines are going to go diagonal. Some of them might be a little, I don't think we have any horizontal ones in here, but we do have vertical ones and we have ones that are diagonal as well. All right, we are going to move over on our sun and we're going to go up into this corner and we're going to make a zigzag line. Now zigzags are sharp and pointy. That's the important thing to remember. So I'm going to go right to the end of my paper. So a nice and sharp zigzag line. Now my next line is going to be wavy. And wavy is very similar to zigzag, but it's not sharp and pointy. It's round and rolls like a wave in the ocean. So I'm going to make my wavy line kind of go over here. I don't want to make too big of a space, so I'm going to go kind of over here. And I'm going to draw a wavy line, just like that. So I have a straight line, a zigzag line, and a wavy line so far. My next line, give you a chance to draw that. Remember, you can always rewind the video. You can always pause it if I'm going too quickly, all right? Our next line is going to be a broken line. So it's still drawing a straight line, but it's going to have little spaces in between all of the different parts. So I'm going to draw that right here. And I'm going to start drawing my line and pick up my marker every once in a while to make smaller lines. So I have a broken line. Now I have a very small space here, So I only have a few, but if you were to draw it in a bigger space, you would have more lines. After my broken line, I'm going to make my dotted line. So I have 2 lines left to draw, so I want to make sure I give myself space. I'm going to do one here, and then I'll do my last line right here. So for my dots, I'm going to make my little circles. Just like that. And for my last line, I'm going to make a curly line. Now curly lines can be a little tricky because the trick is you have to keep your hand moving. Just like if we were drawing a line, right? You would drag your hand across. It's the same thing, except as you're going across, you're doing like little roller coaster loops. All right, so I'm gonna start from my sun. All right, so I want you to do your best. They don't have to be perfect. And what I would suggest too is if you want, take a piece of scrap paper and maybe practice drawing your lines first, and then you can make your sun. Now, our last step in our project is to color it. Now you can see my example up here, and we are going to start at the top and go in the order of the rainbow. All right, when we learn about the rainbow, and we're gonna learn a little bit more about this in another lesson, you can remember the colors of the rainbow by red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. And it spells out Roy G. Biv. And that's a little friend that I'm going to introduce to you during a different lesson. We're just going to worry about our lines for now. But I do want you to try and color your project in the order of the rainbow. Now, we're not using indigo in this project. Indigo is kind of like a blue and a purple mixed together, or a blue and a violet mixed together. We're not going to worry about indigo yet. Indigo will come join us in another project. But we are going to we have a space for red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet, or purple. Purple is so cool, it's got 2 names. It could be purple or violet. We're going to start calling it violet. The only thing that I do want to show you is how I want you to try coloring. Now I'm going to hold my hand close to the camera. When you're holding a crayon, you don't want to hold a crayon like this, okay? It's not really going to help you control where you're coloring. And you don't want to hold a crayon all the way at the end because then it's just going to be all floppy and it's going to go all over the place. When you're holding a crayon, you want to hold it like you would hold a pencil. So you want to take your pointer finger, your middle finger, and your thumb, and you're going to kind of make this little pinch. Don't worry about these 2 fingers here, all right? And you kind of pinch like that, all right? And your crayon can rest against your little middle finger here, while your pointer and your thumb hold on to it. So it's kind of like a little grip like that. And when you're coloring, you want to pay attention to the size of the space you're coloring. Are we coloring anything that's really, really big where we need to move our whole arm while we're coloring? No, because if you do that, you're just going to go outside all of the lines and scribble. We're coloring in a small space, so all you need to move is your wrist. I want you to practice doing that. Hold your crayon, just kind of wiggle your wrist back and forth. See how little coloring. So little coloring for little spaces, big coloring for big spaces. So we're worrying about little spaces right now. Now I want you to do your best, but I want you to try this out. So when you're coloring, you want to make sure your hand is resting against your paper. Okay, and you're going to make little movements. Okay, now when I come to the line right here, when I come to this line, I like to change my direction and go along the line just to fill that in. And then that way I know I won't scribble and go over the line. Then I can go back to going side to side. You want to try and keep your coloring in at least 2 different directions. You don't want to be going this way and then 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 going this way. It's just going to make your picture look sloppy. So if you can keep coloring in one direction, it will make your project look really nice and neat. And there's my red space. And I'm going to do the same thing as I repeat my orange, my yellow, my green, my blue, and my violet until you have a fully colored in project. The other thing that you can do when you're all done, after you're done coloring, now since I drew my project with a black marker, my color looks nice and outlined. But what you can do is when you're completely done with your project and coloring, if you used a pencil, you can take a black crayon and you can trace over all of your lines to give your project a nice completed and finished look. And then when you're done, take a picture and submit your project to me on Teams. I can't wait to see your projects and how colorful they are. All right, see you guys next time. Have fun.